Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Adrielle and I am currently narrating a story of my life dating back from January 2016. In the previous episode, I talked about the teachings of the Holy Spirit and just the things that the Holy Spirit was ministering to me at that time. This episode is supposed to be a recap of 2019, but what ended up happening was I recorded an entire episode and there was no audio. So what I've decided to do is basically touch on things that I kind of didn't really emphasize back in 2019. And yeah, so here it goes. One of the things I kind of didn't emphasize as much in 2019 was my acid reflux. There was a time in April 2019 where I was just having a hard time with it, and I was just so sick and tired of dealing with it that I went to the internet and I Googled places I can go to find out what's going on with me. Now, here's the thing. I did not have health insurance. So I remember looking up places that I can go to that I didn't need health insurance or so, and it was also relatively cheap. I don't even know what I was thinking about at that time. But I did come across a place in North Decatur at the time. It was a clinic. And this clinic was really catered to low-income residents of the area, and you had to have meet a certain income threshold in order to qualify. So I remember bookmarking that website, and I told myself that I was going to apply. Months later, I forgot. I forgot. And then October came around, and that time I was like so fed up with the whole, like the whole thing. My digestive system was just I don't even know. It was just acting up. So I was so fed up. I remembered about the clinic. I applied, sent out my application to the actual clinic, and I didn't hear from them immediately until November. Now, November, they reached out to me. They left a voicemail. I don't know why I never listened to the voicemail in 2019, or maybe I did, but I know I never responded to them or called them back. And that's something that I will talk about in 2020. My braces. Now, something I didn't emphasize in 2019 was that I was still undergoing orthodontic treatment for my braces. After I graduated with my master's degree, I was kind of struggling with making my monthly payments with my orthodontist, to the point where I was skipping out on months. And I didn't know how I was going to be paying for it every month, because like I said, I was struggling, and that was something that was a burden to me at the time. So yeah, that's something that comes up again in 2020. And the wilderness. I find out in 2019 that I was in the wilderness. June 2019 I found out. I remember saying to myself that September 2019, I was going to get out because I had bills. Well, I was still in the wilderness in September 2019. That season of isolation, a season of testing, that was a lot for me. Very uncomfortable. Not only was it uncomfortable, but a lot of uncertainty. Didn't understand what God was doing. All I knew is that God was preparing me for marriage. And in my head, I'm just thinking like, okay, why do I need to be prepared? Like, everybody gets married. Like, it's regular. Like, people get married every day. Don't know why I need to be prepared. But anyways, that was what it was. Didn't like the thought that I could be in the wilderness for a very, very long time. Didn't like the whole idea of me not working and just kind of like looking to my parents for financial help. Didn't like that, but that was what happened in 2019. And also 2020, I will still talk about my wilderness journey in those episodes as well. Brandon. In 2019, Brandon, I got the confirmation that I needed, that Brandon was my spouse, because I was questioning if he really was my spouse. Also in 2019, God revealed to me to pray for him. Didn't make sense at the time because his life seemed regular, or just seemed normal on social media, and this seemed like everything was fine. Didn't know why God wanted me to pray for him. June 2019, I find out about his ex-girlfriend who was accusing him of getting her pregnant and making her a single mom, get the revelation that he wasn't the father, that in fact his brother Nami was truly the father. Didn't make sense to me. Didn't make sense, but I honestly believe that God's revelations, God's insight is true. I know for me, I wanted some type of concrete evidence that Nami was the father. And that was what I was really, really hoping for in 2020. But here's the thing, y'all. In 2020, I find out so much information about Caitlyn and her relationship with Brandon and Nami in 2020. Caitlyn was not who she portrayed herself to be on the internet. No. I mean, she was who I thought she was, but more. And in 2020, I find out about the more, and to be honest, y'all, I wasn't ready for what I found out. I remember just finding out so much information in 2020 and 2021, 2022, just years after. When I found out all that information, God telling me to pray for Brandon in January 2019 made so much sense. I know I told myself ending of 2019 I wasn't going to check on Brandon anymore, that he's in good hands. But because of the stuff I found out about Caitlyn, I was like, oh no, I need to really monitor the situation. And in 2020, y'all, I became a detective because stuff got real, stuff got very different and weird. Stuff got real and weird too concerning their whole relationship dynamic. So I had to do some detective work. I had to turn into Scooby-Doo. So that happened. What else again? My healing journey. During this time, God was taking me through a healing journey. And one of the things God revealed to me at the time was my pride. And that came from insecurities. And just me being insecure about my looks, being insecure about just me, and how I just felt like there was a time in my life where I just felt like I wasn't enough. God was uprooting that in me. And God was just revealing a lot of things of how those insecurities came about and where it originated. I probably will talk about that later on, maybe not 2020, but probably 2022 or afterwards. But yeah, just God revealing where all these insecurities were coming from and where it stemmed from. But here's the thing I thought was interesting. Not only did God reveal my prideful nature at the time, but God also made sure I went through situations I never thought I would go through in order for all of it to make sense to me. Y'all, later on in the story, I was in sticky situations to the point where I'm like, yo, is this even real? Like, is this really my life? So yeah, but that was all to help me. That was all to humble me, to make me more patient, more loving, more kind. Just being more of Christ and bearing fruit of the Holy Spirit. So yeah, that was really the recap of 2019, y'all. Next episode, I am going to talk about January. I am so glad that I am talking about 2020 because I'm really trying to get this story up and running. We have not reached the middle of the story. There's so many episodes, so many turn of events, so many tea. Yeah, so y'all need to get your teacups ready. But yeah, if you like this story, please share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.